Hey, it's Paul here from the Off the Comma podcast. And if you've been following the podcast, you already know that it's about amazing human beings sharing amazing stories about their experience with being stuck and getting unstuck. And you've probably wondered, hey, whatever happened to that guest? What's happened since they were on the show? So that's what this is all about. We are checking in with various podcast guests and just taking 15 minutes to see what's going on in their world. So, deeper connection, learning more about our guests, seeing how life unfolds for them. Enjoy this conversation, and we'll see you on the next one. All right. I am super excited about this new thing we're doing, which is kind of an expansion of the Off the Comma podcast. And we are going to be doing these check-in calls, these check-in sessions with our podcast guests. And I'm super excited because for this episode edition, for this, whatever we want to call it, we have Ranger with us. Ranger was our guest on episode 15 of the Off the Comma podcast. And Ranger, welcome. We really just kind of wanted to check in and see how things are going. Why don't you just start with kind of like a little intro? Just kind of tell us again who you are and what you're up to today.
Yeah, so thanks, Paul, for having me on again. As soon as I saw the email go out to the past guests, I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna hop on, hang out with Paul a little bit more, give him some updates because there's quite a lot going on for me right now." So I thought it'd be
Yeah.
kind of fun to chitter chat and maybe get some of your own coaching takes and kind of see what we can do on the show.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's just jump in. We don't have an agenda or any specific expectations for these. So mostly I just want to wanted to kind of bridge from the episode to today. And if you don't mind, just kind of remind us in a snapshot or two, really what you were talking to us about on the episode, and then kind of what's changed since then.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, it was mostly about my time in college, kind of being on that comma of almost failing out a couple times, not knowing what major I wanted to
Mhm.
do, what I wanted to do after school. I originally wanted to be a veterinarian, and then I don't know, biology, chemistry kind of kicked me in the throat and was like, hey, bud, maybe find something not in science. And then, just our experience, you and I meeting at the vineyard and making that connection and kind of launching me into my career in coaching. And I think we talked a little bit about my current or kind of sort of current role as an ag inspector for the county that I live in.
Mhm.
So just really that progression of okay, this comma, kind of just a series of them, like what's going on.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly too, the kind of one of the really inspiring parts of what you were sharing and the messages, if we so much richness in what you shared, but if we were going to boil it down to what were some takeaways that people might have had, one of them was in the absence of knowing, try a lot of things
Yep.
was really kind of one of the messages that you were sending. That was certainly what resonated with me. So,
Yeah, I don't know if I shared it there, but some advice that I'd gotten pretty early on was you can't steer a parked car. So
you
if you
didn't. I
just
love
sit
that.
there, okay, maybe I didn't. Yeah. So I think that's something that I heard, I think at the beginning of college. But yeah, it's you can't steer a parked car. If you just kind of sit there and you do nothing, you're not going to go anywhere. So you might as well kind
Mm.
of drive around, see what's around, just kind of plug in different destinations, and then after a while, you'll figure out which way you want to go.
Ah, I love that. That's gonna make it as a soundbite for social.
Perfect.
Nice. Ranger, tell us what's been going on in your life since you were on the podcast. That was last year. So
Yeah.
kind of free form, like tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so the big thing right now, I've been kind of saying that as of yesterday, I'm unemployed, and as of next week, I'm going to be homeless,
Mm.
um, in the best way possible. So yesterday was my last day as an ag inspector at the county that I live in, and starting next week or next Monday, my fiance and I are going to be going to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, and starting March 10th, I'm going to be walking across the country from East Coast to West Coast.
Wonderful. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit more about that. I already know
Yeah, I know.
about this story, but tell the rest of us. Tell the folks who haven't heard yet.
Yeah. So This has been something. It's interesting because the first question a lot of people ask is like how I came up with the idea for it, and it's definitely not an original idea by any means. People have done it. There's a gentleman, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he wrote a book about it. I think he did about 80, 90 years ago, and he wrote a book, and it was like the staple for it. And I guess kind of scooching back a little bit, how I heard about it was a singer songwriter that I know and like, Mike Posner.
Hmm.
He did it
Hmm.
in 2018, I believe. He did Cooler Than Me and I Took a Pill in Ibiza. And he did the walk in 2018, shortly after his father had passed away. And he was best friends with Avicii. So he had a lot of things going on, lost a lot of close loved ones, and kind of sent him on this whole journey of like soul searching and figuring what he really wants out of life and what it means to be alive.
Mm.
And he did the trek. He actually, I can't remember how long it took him. It took him a little bit of extra time because he was injured partway through. But I mean, I saw the story in 2018, 2019 when he first did it, and that kind of like planted that seed of like, oh, that'd be interesting. That'd be cool to do.
Hmm.
And I think it came up again in 2020, 2021, when another fella, his name is Andrew Kivett, he did it and posted that Mike Posner walked with him for his last couple of days or a day or so. And I was like, man, just normal people are out here doing this. Like Andrew was saying, he was fresh out of college or finishing up his schooling, and he decided to do it. And I was like, there's no way, because the story that I had told myself originally was Mike did it because he's rich, he has money, he's a singer, he has a support crew, all this. And then Andrew did it completely unsupported by himself.
Mm.
And there's another guy that I found on a podcast, Mark Dudek, and he did it right after graduating college, unsupported by himself. So that kind of scraped away any of the stories and excuses I told myself as to why I couldn't do it.
Mm.
And kind of just in 2022-ish, I made that commitment that it was something that I wanted to do while I was working at my previous job, which was in a warehouse. Kind of just, well, what does it really mean to be alive and do the things I want to do? And through coaching and I guess being in that world of recognizing excuses and stories that we're telling ourselves, realized all of the things and BS I was telling myself
Hmm.
as to why I could or couldn't do it. And yeah, so that's when I got the idea, and I made that commitment in that warehouse some
Okay.
random day that I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do it.
So I didn't know this part. This was actually something that you had been visualizing
Hmm.
since 2022, because I came to know you more so in 2023 and this whole
Yeah.
year. Obviously, we didn't spend a lot of time together on a regular basis, but I didn't realize that you was. It sounds like you sat on this for
Yeah.
2023, and now 2024. It's time to pull it from visualizing into actualizing.
Yeah. And it was a lot of internal work, right? Like
Hmm.
I didn't really tell that many people about it. I don't think it was even in a coaching plan until I'd worked with Austin. I think halfway through TCE, it was just very much a I'm going to sit on this internally. I'm going to listen to Mark's podcast. I'm going to read the interviews and listen to what Mike Posner had said. And then I brought it to my fiance, and she thought I was crazy and was like, "What are you talking about?" Which very good natural reaction.
Hmm.
Um, and she's just been extremely supportive of it. More so in the way that she's super excited for it to be over rather than for it to start or be in the
Mm.
middle of it, of course. But just seeing that support from her really helped push me over the edge. Like, okay, this is something I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So in 2022, it was a lot of that internal work with her. And then right around 2023 was okay, what do I need to do this? Like, I need to have no debt. I need to pay off my whatever. And I need to make sure I don't have a car note. Um, Save up as much as I can, be smart with my money. Cause that was like the big thing, like stressor for me. So it was an idea since 2018, talked about more starting 2021, 2022, and then it's been more actively worked on since I got my role at the ag office.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and so you're going to be walking across the country.
Yep.
I've got like two things before we wrap up the brief conversation. Tell folks, like, what's your why? Why are you doing this? Why is that important to you?
That is the good question, huh? That's the question that everybody asks, and it's hard to explain the why, right? And I would really say that the why is there's multiple whys. It's like the idea of like why do people climb the big mountains? Like because they're there, like because
Hmm.
to see if they can do it. And I think that's really a big part of it is I want to see if I'm capable of doing this. And that's like the internal reason, like, can I actively plan? Can I prepare for something? Can I be committed to an outcome that won't feel like it's possible until I jump in the next beach,
Yeah.
right?
Well, even that why sounds complete.
Yeah.
The to see what I can do is an outcome, is a reason,
Yeah.
is a why, right? And that
Yeah.
can be complete in and of itself, it seems. I don't know. It's your outcome. You tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the thing too, right? And what I've learned from other people that have done it and have done similar feats is after they do the walk, they kind of fall into like a post-walk depression.
Mm.
That, I was in the survival mode for 3 to 7 months, sometimes longer. Um, you know, I have an interview with a news station tomorrow. Like I have a lot of attention and eyes on me, and it's going to be more and more the more miles I put in, and then I cross the ocean, I cross into the ocean, and that's it.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, I feel like I need something more, like beyond the walk. So my external internal reason is more so to just connect with people. I think on my website it says to highlight, learn from, and work with people that are making a difference.
Mhm.
And I feel like a lot of the information that's put on social media and the news and this and that is just all very negative. And sure, like it's happening. I don't think we should ignore the shit that's going on in the world, but there are people out there that are making a difference, and I want to find them. I want to talk to them, put them on my podcast, put them on social media, like just talk to them
Mhm.
and just see what's out there and connect with people that I never would have if I hadn't walked through their town at 3 miles per hour.
Mhm.
So just it's about connection and seeing what I can do.
I love it. I love every bit of it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if I love it or if anybody else does. This is clearly important to you,
Hmm.
and just this kind of concept of what's possible. And if I may, you haven't shared this, but having some knowledge of your story. Well, no, let me ask this question. The path that you're taking, this isn't you just decided to, I'm going to walk across the country and you pick some arbitrary like thing. It
Hmm.
sounds like there is a path that people take when they walk across the country.
Yeah, for the most part, like there's more so a strategy than a route.
Okay.
So the main strategy is start early spring on the East Coast, walk west.
Hmm.
I can't remember the exact reasoning for it, but it has to do with weather,
I'm sure
um,
time zone
time
factors into that a
zones.
bit.
Yeah. And a big part of that for me is since I live on the West Coast, I feel like I would have more reasons to stop right away because I'm so close to home.
Hmm.
Whereas in this case, I'm walking east to west, like I'm walking from far away to my like back to where I live essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like the American Discovery Trail that's further up north, but that one's closer to 4,000 miles,
Hmm.
whereas the route that I'm taking is about 2,800.
Okay.
Uh, and I think the other route adds about 2 to 3 months potentially.
Wow.
And I don't want to be out there a whole year.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it is truly just amazing, and I think where I was going with that little bit of ramble earlier was whatever your quest is, we're talking about we, the collective we,
Yeah,
whatever your quest is, whatever your thing is, whatever your vision, a pursuit or journey is you don't always have to make it up from scratch. You can go your
yeah,
own way and know that there are other people just like you who have at least have worn down a little bit of a path for you. So I was curious. It's like,
exactly.
oh,
Yeah,
you're following a path, but maybe not literally, but metaphorically, yeah, you get to go your
exactly.
own way, but without having to figure it all out from scratch.
No, and that's again another story I told myself was that I had to figure it out all on my own. Like I originally was just going to kind of copy Mike Posner's route. And I was like, no, maybe I want to kind of do my own thing. And then I was looking at what Andrew Kivet had posted and what Mark had posted, and I was avoiding talking to them. I don't know why. I was embarrassed or didn't feel right
Mm,
messaging them. But then I was like, why wouldn't they want to? Like, I'm making that decision for them.
hmm.
Like, that's not fair. And I DM'd them, and within hours, they both responded and were like, dude, we will help you any way we can. Like,
Nice.
let's hop on a call. I've been texting them. We're setting up a group chat for when I'm on the walk to talk and get advice. So I think that's another big thing too is even in the biggest of goals, there's people that have done it or something similar. And even if you don't follow the same path, there's certain vibes that are going to be the same.
Hmm.
Like my planning started with find a nice backpack, get a nice cart, fill in the rest later. Like just
Hmm.
focus on the next biggest thing and you'll figure it out.
And already the connections are there, like the amount of
Yeah,
support that you have. I love it. We could talk a lot more
I
about this,
know.
and I'm sure you have a lot more to share, but I'm staying rigid to the 15-minute thing. But that creates an invitation though for people to contact you directly. So I'm going to
Yes.
put something in the description field since this is just going to
Perfect.
be a YouTube video. So just tell us now, and then obviously I'll include that in the actual publication of this. But where can people find you? Where could people specifically contact you about this journey?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm raising money. I have my social media accounts. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok are going to be the most active. But really, the central location where I'm hosting all of the information is my website. So it's just going to be withinrangecoaching.com/walk dash across dash America.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, this is awesome. I got so excited when I first heard about it. I'm excited to learn more. I'm excited to hear as the journey
Yeah,
unfolds. So,
it'll
um,
be a whole thing.
yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure. I mean, and
Hmm.
what an inspiration. I mean, what you're showing all of us. So,
Yeah,
real quick before we wrap up, when does your journey begin?
March 10th.
March
That's when
10th. So,
I'm stepping out of the Atlantic.
right around the corner.
Yeah, tell me about it. My room's empty. I mean, it's weird, man.
It's got to be
It's like I
frightening,
said, like
right?
walking out of work for the last time yesterday, seeing some people for the last time in a while.
Mm,
It's becoming very real. So,
mhm. It's awesome. It's awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us this update, Ranger, and
Sure.
we will be following your progress along the way. And I will look forward to talking to you along the way on your journey for sure.
I'll have a lot of free time. Give me a call anytime, please.
Absolutely. All right, cool. We'll be hearing more from you.
Perfect.